Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Kwali, and I'm your host of Nonstop Playing, and I'm back with another serious topic. So, for the sense of camaraderie and what I normally do, recap from last episode, I had my boy C Rob on, and he talked about his marriage journey with his wife. I think that's a very crucial topic that we need to talk about in our community. And if you haven't already, please check it out. It's definitely episode you want to hear. So definitely check into that. It's called Why I'm Getting Married. So check that out. My boy C Rob. Shout out to my boy C Rob. Without further ado, I'm gonna get into this episode. So again, it's season 2. As I said, it's gonna be a lot of collabs on this one. I'm bringing a lot of people on from the community that are doing different things and have different things they want to talk about. They want to talk their age. So today I got my boy Trey P. He's a very astounding artist from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 414 stand up, from my hometown. And ironically, me and him have a history that we didn't know about until we ended up at the same spot. So we used to work at the same university together. He was one of my students and helped mentor and advocate and still serve in some capacity. But we actually went to the same high school as well. I was a few years older, but we reconnected, at the university, and here we are today. We on the channel, and we ready to, ready for him to talk his ish. So without further ado, it's my boy Trey P. Go ahead and tell him a little bit about yourself, bro.
Alrighty, the name Trey P, TRE exclamation point P. You can follow me on all platforms, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you can find social media. That's exactly what you would type in that search bar. I got my boy Kwali with me,
Hey,
Big shout out. Appreciate the invite.
sir.
We basically touching abandonment issues.
So you want to talk about abandonment?
Yeah.
Okay, that's something different. Ironically, we really, in our community specifically, and again, for the sake of the podcast, I'm always talking about it from a perspective, right? I'm not speaking for all folks, but it's a topic that we can all tap in at some point. But abandonment, man, you tell me why you want to talk about this topic.
Abandonment is just something that I feel like our community we are realizing the issue, but we are not honestly addressing it appropriately. We're giving it a nonchalant response or just not taking it into consideration. That's kind of what I'm noticing.
Like sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah, just sweeping it under the rug, being passive aggressive almost.
Okay. So tell me more. So when you say abandonment, what's like one of the most not ideal, but one of the most crucial things that we have in our community that we abandon the most?
Okay, so basically, well, in our community right now, this generation, I'm going to say just time. I want to say it's almost custom timing is what I'm noticing that a lot of our community is on, because we have our custom schedule. So we feel like our partner or our friend should be on that same custom schedule. So if I text you, you should respond within this time frame. So now I feel like you've abandoned me because you haven't replied to me in this time frame. But in the underlying issue is that it's something going on with you internally, something that happened with your family that you're not really speaking about. But I'm doing the trigger unconsciously. So now I'm stuck paying for a problem that I never even created.
That's profound, bro. That's profound. Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's even in the older adults as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's even in the older adults as well. It's the why you didn't call back. I want you to call back. You're supposed to call back tonight. You know what I got going on in my life right now, auntie or grandma or this, that, and the third. It's the same type of thing. It's just something that we keep ignoring. We're not ignoring it. We're just not paying it enough attention and responding to it healthy enough. That's why I keep lingering from generation to generation to generation to generation.
Okay, so you saying it's more like genetically almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, almost.
I kind of want to touch on that a little bit because, like, again, it's a topic we don't talk about a lot, and in a sense, we sweep it under the rug, and we kind of out of sight, out of mind. So if we're not thinking about it, we're not trying to touch on it. We just kind of leave it by the wayside and don't want to deal with it. And that kind of stems back to slavery. You know what I'm saying? When you really think about it.
Yes.
Abandonment. Like you had mothers, fathers losing their children because they were being taken by, the overkeepers and sent off to other plantations and things of that nature, and that inkling has stayed with us for, we talking about centuries now. So I get what you're saying when we talk about, you know, uh, you feeling like somebody owes you something in a sense, and that sounds bad when you say somebody owes you something, because no one owes you anything, right? In this world, only thing you are
Right.
guaranteed is death. So that's the only thing that's going to happen, that is going to happen. It's inevitable, right? But we walk around with this, in a sense, the chip on our shoulder, like, why, this person has to give me this because they owe it to me, because they said that, either they said they were going to do it, or I have this expectation or standard of
Yeah.
you because of our relationship that we have together. So I believe that wholeheartedly.
And basically, like, just to piggyback off of that, it like you said with the slavery thing, is that if you got to think, back then it was no there, you couldn't be an athlete. Those things weren't even really created, but you were still shipping them off. It's kind of the same thing now with the mother who was a single mom and now has an NBA player. He's going to transition to a whole different realm of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so y'all expect him to operate the same? That's impossible. Y'all expect him to check up on y'all the same? That's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a lot of things become impossible. But it's like, it's just a different form. Like, I've noticed that sometimes wealth can be a form of slavery, just sometimes in certain cases in our community. It really depends on your upbringing and how that person really views life, honestly.
So what I'm
Because
hearing is, we've been conditioned to believe that the way to deal with abandonment is to get money and really focus on that.
just move on and just move on. Yeah. And just move on. It never really.
But
Yeah, you may have went through this, but
I'm sorry, go
we
ahead,
just
bro.
go. No, you go. So basically, it's like you never went through this. So basically, you got the money. So just move on. Or you just found out you got you a family now. Just move on from that. And it's like, that's not how that would work, because if it was in the childhood, it can pop up in the adulthood. It's just some things that's kind of, like you said, inevitable. It's gonna happen.
Well, let me ask you. Let's dive deep, bro. Have you dealt with like any abandonment issues, or like, do you feel like you have some, weight on your shoulder that you want to get off, in a sense?
I want to say when I was in college, I had it bad. I had it really bad. I had it bad in my way of showing it would just be just doing another activity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was consistently busy, even on accident. Like, either I'm helping somebody, what I'm saying, do a favor, or I'm just, partying, or I'm just hooping or something. It was never really a time for like a personal reflection. The things that you should be doing at 22, 23, 19. It's a lot of things that be like those traumas in those certain areas. It really blocks, like, it blocks reality.
Mm.
It can block reality. I want to say it's not a guarantee. It can block reality.
Yeah. And I see that a lot when we talk about people that are on drugs really bad. A lot of them, get on drugs because they don't have other coping mechanisms to help them get through those, the trauma, in a sense, right? Because again, we talk about abandonment. That's a sense of trauma. It has inklings of depression. So you have all these things that are, like you said, affecting your mental. So you have to find means to, bring yourself back to, or give you like a temporary remedy, in a sense, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So no, I feel that, man. And I've dealt with, that myself, and I talk about it on other episodes on the podcast. The fact that, like, when the one when I talked about growing, my episode on growing pains, I talked about how I didn't have my father growing up, and that, not having him around, and how I had to conduct myself because he wasn't around. It's affecting me now today as, an adult, a grown man with kids. I'm still a father of kids, in a sense, right?
yeah.
But again, some of the things that I think about today, like if I wanted to call and have a conversation, I don't want to even do it, because the the, the idea that if I talk to this person today, I might not be able to talk to them tomorrow. So I got to shelter myself so that I protect my feelings and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
That makes, yeah, and you see what I'm saying. You see how the abandonments go from the abandonment to sheltering to adapting to being different. Those are the stages I've noticed. Like, wow, that's crazy on how that stairway plays out. And these things that it just, and when once it age, that's when you start to see it.
Mm.
And I feel like the certain things with the abandonment issues, that's why a lot of these things are not hiding until you're around 25, between 22 to like 37, I want to say, is
Okay.
when you see the abandonment issue thing play a big factor. Because I feel like after 40, it's like, I don't know, like people tend to trust each other just a little bit more. Like it's not the same of, I gotta see where you at every given moment. No, if you said you was going to the grocery store, you was going to the grocery store. I don't have to call you or check your location. I don't have to do any of that. You said you was going to the store. It takes about 20 minutes, about 5 minutes to check out. You should be back here under 30. I'm gonna trust that. I'm not gonna go and try to find out if that's really what you mean. You say what you mean and all the other stuff. I'm not gonna do that. Or tail behind you without you knowing it.
That's interesting because now we shifting into like relationships, right? Like actual relationships. When you were saying that people are checking phones, and if you ain't back by the time you say you was gonna be back, now I got to question what you was doing, how you was doing things. What I find very peculiar, to say the least, is especially like in today's society, and we talk about dating. A lot of women they'll put on a front in a sense like, oh, I don't need him or I don't want him, but then at the same time throw a hissy fit when you want to go kick it with the guys, or you want to just sit in the crib and play video games. I don't play video games, but if I
Yeah,
did,
me.
what I'm saying, like sometimes that's a dude's piece, and then you thinking that he abandoning you, or trying to kind of like ship you off in a sense, like brush you off to the side, but that's not what he's doing. He's just looking for his inner peace, but you feeling like he's abandoning you in a sense. And to add more to that, it's funny because you know I, I speak on this too, like my situation with my first my first son's mom, how she uses that as her means to explain why she has issues with me, because she said I abandoned her, and I'm like, you
No.
can't abandon somebody that it ain't gonna work. Like, well, I'm supposed to
Yeah,
stay
two
here
different
with
things.
you. Huh?
Those are two different. Those are, sorry to cut you off, but those are two different. That's totally different.
Right. I can't abandon
That's
somebody that I'm not. It doesn't work with us. So if it don't work with us, why would we stay together and try to basically, build something, put glue and tape, and keep putting glue and tape over, what I'm saying, this broken fixture when it's not going to fix. It's going to keep falling apart. So, it's actually toxic. It's toxic behavior in a sense. That's what it is.
yeah, yes, and that's another thing I was going to basically dive into. Like right after was the abandonment and the toxicity just go hand in hand so well, because it's like, I understand where you coming from, but it's still not healthy for you to do. It's still not healthy for you to treat somebody like that, especially when you're in a relationship with someone you claim that you trust. It's like, if you have abandonment issues, I know for a full blown fact you're gonna have somewhat trust issues. Maybe it may not be in the start of the relationship, but I guarantee you, in the heart of this, or when we're in the prime of this, it's gonna come up.
Mm. So have you
It's
dealt with something like that on your end?
yes, I've I've been hit with, I've given ultimatums, I've been hit with ultimatums.
Hmm.
It's just, and that's where I've learned, like, you really where this problem stems from is not necessarily the women, it's the behavior.
Right.
The behavior comes from the situation that you were placed in. So if you were abandoned, then or you felt as though or perceived to be abandoned, now this is your response in every single abandonment situation. And you don't even know it until you want to, dig deeper and actually see for yourself. Like, I'm doing exactly what people are saying. But it's weird because, not to pick at the women, but how a man will analyze that and change. A woman will see that and be like, I'm still going to be the way I be, because I just feel as though I'm not really healed from it.
Hmm.
But it's like, fine, you do realize, and I'm not trying to be sensitive, like insensitive, but you are already giving an excuse for that pain to stay.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you ain't wrong. Hey, don't, again, like I said, this podcast is about talking about stuff from unfiltered, unapologetic way. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
we got to be able to put things on blast. And I love the women, and I understand relationship dynamics, and it's taking time. I've had to learn and grow, bump my head, and do things of that nature. But in a lot of cases, and I'm saying for majority, I'm not saying all, but I'm saying for majority of women, when we talk about relationships and abandonment issues, is mainly them, and a lot of that stems from not having their father around, and mother
Yes.
being, being the breadwinner in a sense, and trying to instill in their daughter that you have to act this way in order for you to get across in life. But and again, that takes away from the whole essence of, being with a good man, if he chooses to be with you in a sense, because now you're dealing with these daddy issues, and you're lashing out and acting all, weird in a sense, when
Yeah.
all you had to do was, do a reality, check yourself, take
Reality.
accountability, and make amends.
Like, and I feel like that's where the the ball always get rough, because when a man usually when men restrict like that change, we know that the outcome is gonna be, it's never gonna change. That means you are content in this situation,
Mhm.
or it's about to go left and you don't even care. Women have a different outlook, as in, eventually I will heal. Eventually, this person would just understand exactly where I'm coming from and treat me differently. Or the last one would be, I just don't care.
Yeah.
And that third one is the scariest one, because like that one is like that's where all the bad decisions happen. That's where all the women started to tell themselves that they're alpha now, that they don't need this. And just one thing I want to shout out to the good women that are in the world, especially the good black women. But if you're looking at a single mom who raised four different baby daddies, I'm not saying she's not in the position to lead you, but she's gonna forever be in the question position to lead you, because that's not what you did when you have multiple decisions to say no, multiple decisions to make a better life. Now, if that single mom ends up married, or even married in the period of your childhood where you see the change, or you just see consistent effort and just failure from the men, which can happen. But 9 times out of the 10, it's just a not caring. Or I know what it is and I get to it when I get to it.
Mm. So you said that would you say that plagues more of the black community out of all communities, or like have you seen this?
I'm gonna say what's highlighted is gonna be the black communities. But as I work with many different groups of people, this is like all races. It's just the difference is that we have a higher rating because of that's kind of what our demographics exist. Single black moms.
Hmm. Wait, so Trey, for the audience, what do you do for a living? Like, what's your profession?
My profession besides being an artist is just case management, meaning that I am going over the trauma cases.
Hmm.
I'm a day-to-day basis from any adult.
Because you got your degree in human services, right?
Yep. Bachelor degree in human services.
Educated brother.
So the community is something that I will always be like that's just my niche. I want to say, like, just paying attention to how it operates, what it's doing and what it's not doing.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the same tip, and that's why when I post stuff on here, specifically for Black people, but at the same time, anybody can relate to it because there's always something going on in some community. Every community got that drunk uncle. Every community got that, saying a cool aunt. Everybody got that one cousin that's always in jail. Saying it
Like
happens.
it happens. Like literally, it happened. And I didn't know that until I went to a PWI.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's crazy that you got. Wait a minute, you have a whole side of family that are drug addicts and alcoholics
Mm-hmm.
right now, but they just functional.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, that's the difference. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's the difference.
Definitely.
And that's something that a lot of black people don't know. White people just as poor as we are, if not more poor. Y'all got it. It sound crazy now, but if you dig deep, where I'm at in Wisconsin, coming from white Wisconsin, you will see it. They have trailer parks here.
Well, they got trailer
Like
parks all over the nation. But it's, it's
it's
it's real it's real in everywhere you go. Even here in Arizona, man.
it's
It's
real
a
in
lot of
every
drugs out
state. I promise you, it's real in every state.
here. Yeah. But let's shift, bro. Let's shift
Yeah,
into, I think we touched on some good prudent information when we talk about abandonment. So know, from your experience, you know, working with different people in different settings, you know, I know everything is case by case. What do you think is the remedy for, you know, having this abandonment? How do we specifically, let's talk about it from the Black community. How do we
From the
move forward and overcome, you know, this trauma that's been in our community over 450 years?
I want to say honestly, we have to transition from the militant, the militant mindset back to the family mindset. I'm just being honest because we tried it this way, and look, we're still in the same boat,
Mhm,
except for things are just more dangerous now. We got to go back to the family mindset where people didn't mind putting their pride to the side,
mhm,
even if they know it will pain them. It's just the things that I'm working with and I'm seeing. Like people will come to the hospital, and their doctors and nurses will say you need this, and they will say no,
mhm,
or they will just leave.
mhm.
It's called AMA, against medical advice.
Against medical advice, you said AMA.
Yeah, AMA, against medical advice. Now, for abandonment issues, it's kind of like, now let's just say that this patient may have been raped before, or may have been in a similar situation where you're in a room and they're basically trying to tell you, like, you know, what you're going to get and what you're going to eat and what they're going to do. And maybe you may have a trigger and you can't deal with it. And then you just leave the hospital.
Mm.
Now, to the average person, they'll be like, you crazy, you know, you crazy as I don't know what. But in reality, that's what that's kind of what's the similar situation.
So you saying that we got to get from, specifically in our community, we got to get away from the militant mindset and get back into the family mindset. I kind
Yeah.
of want to expand on that a little more because, you know, I listen to a lot of individuals who, you know, like documentaries and people that are advocates in the community. I'm not talking about like BLM because, you know, but that, for me that's they could they I ain't got time for Black Lives Matter because they ain't yeah, we ain't gonna get on that topic,
It's
bro.
corporate. That's still corporate. That's still corporate. That
Yeah.
ain't even corporate.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, they definitely
That,
it's an
that,
agenda, but I don't think the agenda is really for the community. So, but
no,
we ain't got to
no,
get into it too deep.
can't. It can't. It's too. Y'all had too much time. It can't be.
hmm and well, even outside of that, the only time you see them is when it's police brutality. It ain't nobody
Yeah.
where they at. They ain't in the hospitals. They ain't at the churches telling the preacher
See
stop
what I'm saying?
money from people. Talking
Yeah.
about tithes for God. Like since when God need money from you? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, let's
Like
be real.
what? Like
You know me, man. I do my own thing, but you in that realm, you know, you're very spiritual in a sense, and you know, but since when did God tell you to give him some money?
man, I have not ever. You wanna know what's crazy? The only time that God has told me to give up is to give out the money,
Yeah.
like meaning act of kind, not as in, bro. If you don't, when the pastor say this, you bogus. If that don't, no, I don't know where these people get that from, and that's them. I haven't ever felt that type of conviction, like where I have to do this or I'm gonna be like strike down or something. No, that's not how it works.
hmm Yeah, that's
That's not
a topic I'm gonna have to get on at some point.
your whole life chance. It ain't over yet until you dead. That's another topic, but that's really deep.
hmm
Your whole life is a chance. It's not. It ain't really said and done till you like really gone. Like meaning you're stuck in a pending
hmm
in progress. You don't know where this can go.
No, exactly. Yeah, we gonna have to. I'm gonna do an
Yeah, that's
episode
another.
on that later on in the season. I'm
Yeah,
talking with a spiritual person, well, a religious person right now. I'm hoping to get him on the podcast. We gonna see what he do. I'm gonna say maybe we should do it for God. Maybe he'll jump on.
he
Let me
gonna
stop.
do
Let
it.
me stop. Let me stop. But you know what I was saying was you know with the trauma, you know, when we look at the Black family as a whole, we've always been collective, right? You know, it's always been the father, the mother, the children. You know, there was always that unity in the sense of what we do and how we do things. But it really didn't come into effect again until slavery, and then it got even worse when we talk about after the Vietnam War, when they was pulling. The Vietnam War when they was pulling Black
They
fathers
pulling.
out the household to go fight in the war, and then they was coming back. But only way what they can do is the women they were putting them on these government assistance programs, and ever since then it's just been all right. Keep the Black father out the household, you know, and that adds that aspect of abandonment because now it's like
It's and
it's
though
true.
that scare me. still working right now. It's still working. I swear to God, it's still working. That's how much it pains.
Mm-hmm.
It's still working right now. It's a woman right now that's allowing a man to be a drug dealer, and she's on every single government assistance you can think of, and they think that's goals.
Mm-hmm. Or she kick him out the household, put him on child support because he don't be with her no
And
more. And
then
now he's
when
sitting here trying to figure out, but the way the system is set up, there's no way of winning outside of that. And we can both attest to that. We both, got
no,
situations with the system, and they do everything in their power to strip you of your. They want to emasculate you, and then
yeah,
you a slave again. And that's basically what
you
we
slave.
become. Is you don't go to
Basically,
work, you're going to jail,
going to jail.
right like that. You don't work, you go into jail. And then they find ways and loopholes to continue to feed
They
into
keep
that
you
woman's
in.
ego. And then she keeps following suit instead of thinking like, why have these people in my business when at the end of the day, they don't care about you, the child, or the father. They just trying to get, because they get their money off top, man. They hustlers.
They hustle. Thank you,
Hustlers.
Eric. They hustle. At the end of the day, you gotta like. I feel like our people forgot that.
Mhm.
Like, bro, just because you successfully scamming and don't mean they still hustling, bro. You just doing the dirty work for them. That's
Mhm.
all they needed. It's still they still coming out on top. It's just all about you just winning right now. It happens. You know what I'm saying? It happens. It's same thing for a woman. Like with this Section 8, every single thing. You feel like you winning, but think about this: the government only keeping you at that level. You mean to tell me you gonna live like that for the next 20, 30 years of your life?
I'm well. It's unfortunate. I'm
They
well.
did. They did it already. And they taught their daughter to do the same thing. And now she doing it.
Mhm. But that's crazy because a lot of people don't know when we talk about these assistant programs. It started in the white community, and then they figured out a way to get take the black man out the household, and now they're doing it to black women, and they've succeeded, and it's been going on for too long, and
It's,
it's been worse and worse and worse, and then it becomes again it's back to the topic of the episode, abandonment. It's saying the black father is absentee, but it's like we're absentee by default because we don't have a choice
thank
to sit here and deal with somebody you don't want to deal with. Now, you shouldn't have had a kid with them. Don't get me wrong. If you saw the
you.
red flags when you saw them, you
You're
decided
still
to go
accountable.
that route. You know. So here we are. Here we are. But yeah, man. So talk to me. So when you're dealing with when you're interfacing with some of these families, what are they telling you in terms of like the issues regarding abandonment? Like, what are they telling you?
Basically, it's just like kind of adjusting because Oshkosh is just a transitional city. So let's say that the family came from overseas or Africa or with Somalia, whatever, and they seen, a bad act that happened. And then now they feel like, everybody's either out to get them or they feel like they have to suppress, but they may drink to suppress coming from abandonment because they miss their mom and their dad, their family in the other country, but now they here and they have to basically build a whole new life. Some people just not ready, but the scary part is that it's so many different situations, but it's like to get out of them, it's like the person has to really manifest it for themselves first. And I feel like it's nothing like how in school they teach you all about the conflicts. They literally have paragraph after paragraph for conflict. When it comes to conflict resolution, they'll have one little small paragraph.
Mm,
They have one little thing. So it's kind of like, okay, so that this is what you teaching people. So when they get to adults, they don't know what to do anymore. There's no playbook, especially if you come from a different country coming to America. It's even worse.
mm,
You won't have anything.
true.
It's just you with the whatever employees. That's basically who your friends are at first.
Yeah, and the problem with that is with these people that are coming from foreign areas is they want to assimilate so bad, so they're going to tap in to make sure that they are accepted
Yep.
in a sense. So they're going to take on that ideology of what's going on and how to like. And that's another thing, issue that I have sometimes when we talk about Africans or even Caribbean folks. In a heartbeat, when it's a handout, oh yeah, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. But then as soon as something happened where it's time for them to come step up and, be an ally. Oh no, I'm Nigerian. Oh no, I'm from Trinidad. Oh, I'm Haitian. I ain't
People gotta watch out for that, bro. People gotta watch out for that.
yeah, so it's like
People really
pick
have
and
to watch
choose.
out because it happens, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whoa, what?
Mm-hmm.
Now you ain't the culture no more.
Nope. Only when you getting that, that stimmy.
Only when you
That stimmy,
yeah,
you all about it. I'm black and I'm proud. But as soon as the stimmy going and it's like, all right, man, we need you to mount up. We got to ride for the boys.
I'm,
Oh, no, no, no,
right.
not me.
I'm not writing. I'm not doing like that. Straight like that. They not going. I'm not going.
No, that is interesting to say the least, bro. Like, we again, there's a lot of trauma within our community that we all have to at some point come to terms with. But and that's essentially what I was talking about on my first episode. Well, my second episode of season one when I talked about group economics.
Yes.
It's really hard for us to get to that point where we, shorten that wealth gap when we can't even get on the same page from a trauma stance. Like, all right, let's all heal, kumbaya, and find a way for us to work together. I know mama and auntie, they don't like each other, because of X, Y, and Z. She used to wear her shirt when she was little and she didn't want her wearing her shirt no more. But we got to get over, cutting people
Got to
off
get off.
our lives and telling them that I ain't finna deal with them no more. We got to be able to talk through these problems because, that weakens, our force that we have as a community. So we have to work through these nuances so that we can get better and be able to work together so that we can, do what we need to do. I've stated this 100 million times. Our dollar stays within our community only 6 hours, and we're the only group that doesn't really practice group economics. That's a problem.
That's a big problem because that's how the other people are making it.
Hmm.
That Koreans with the hair, Arabs with the gas, whites with the system,
Hmm.
like Mexicans with the with the architect. I'm just keeping it real. These are these are the things that we in this like. What are we just like? It's almost to the point where it's like we really are that Americanized that we don't know that everything we have been taught and learned was already for sale.
Well, I'm gonna challenge even that, bro. The fact of the matter is, we created everything, and people have
Yeah,
we taught everybody else, and now they flipped it to make it seem like we don't
we
we've known nothing, and we're being taught things because we are a minority. A lot of people don't know the term minority means less than and inferior, and it has nothing to do with being a smaller population. It means that you're less than and inferior. I'm last time I checked, I'm inferior to no one. Last time I checked, I'm beneath no one. So I'm not a
you see
minority.
you see what and that's another thing that they like. Why is that not blown out of proportion like we like the things that needs to be out and heard and did? It's like why are we glorifying the other things? Like I'm still trying to really figure it out and wrap it, but it's like it's no really way to really lead because like you said, when you took that man out the household, that killed it killed a lot. It
Mhm.
killed a lot. It really killed a lot. And I don't even know how they even figure out that formula. That's what scared me. It must have happened to them first. It had to with
Well,
that.
I think the biggest thing is, when you learn war, when you learn terms of war, the first thing is, you don't you kill off the strongest man because he's going to be the one that leads the troop. He's going to have the fire in his belly in a sense, right? It's not
You know,
necessarily women. Now you might hear
the
narratives in
biggest problem.
African history where the queens of these African tribes, they fought off the British, they fought off the Dutch, they fought off the Portuguese. So you hear different narratives, but at the end of the day, it's always been the men go to war. So if you can kill off the men, then you can enslave the women and you can turn the children into slaves in a sense, right?
It's
So
it's it's easier to infiltrate. That's all it is. It's easier to infiltrate.
oh no, definitely. So, but yeah, bro, I think we touched on some good stuff, man. I think that as a whole, as a community, we need to work on just some key things: learning how to trust each other, learning how to love each other, and learning how to work together, even when we don't, we have disagreements. If we can do that, we can get rid of this trauma, associated with abandonment,
But
and
yes,
work
you
together
wouldn't
more
feel
effectively.
you wouldn't feel alone in so many. You wouldn't feel alone in so many situations. You will understand that you have that advocacy, you have that assistance, you have that mentor, you have the ability to actually grow. When
Mhm.
you don't have that, and all your mind is forced to do is to wonder, and that's what a lot of us we do. But it's like when you wondering, people are expecting you to already have an outcome or a solution. That's where the friction come in, because it's like, well, then what are you doing?
Mhm. Don't nobody
What
like
are
that
you doing?
question.
Taking you so long to come to an answer? It's taking you so long to make an action?
Straight like that. But yeah, bro. But I think that's a great way to sum it up on that question. Like, what
Yeah,
do we do? What do we do next? What is the solution to our problem? We've given a few outlets that we can consider or even implement moving forward. But what do we do as a community so we can do better? So, but again, as we wrap up this episode, I just want to tell everybody I appreciate them tuning in. It's been a great ride thus far, and I'm just gonna keep building and grinding and keep building and keep grinding. But I want to thank my boy Trey P for coming on and talking this ish about a topic that we need to talk about in our community, because we talk about mental health, but mental health starts with getting rid of those subsets that need to be taken care of. So again, follow him
yes.
on, again, Trey exclamation point P. Sorry. Follow him on IG. Follow him on Apple Music, Spotify. We got some really good music out here. And then my boy actually opened up for T Grizzly a couple weeks back. So he out here doing his thing. So, but with
Sada
that being
before
said,
that, before,
go ahead, brother.
I said Sada baby before that too.
Oh, and
Joint
Sada
was
Baby
it
too.
was
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He out here doing his thing. Young black man doing it. Young educated black man doing his thing out here. So, um, we appreciate you, brother, for coming on. Well, I appreciate you because it's just me on my podcast.
hey man. Thank you for having.
For sure.
Thank
And
you for having.
go ahead, brother.
Thank you for having me, man. This made me, man. You got it. You got it, Quality. You got it, man. You got it. You got it. You got it.
Hey, we put on for the city, right? We put on for the city. I put on for my young brothers, even my older brother. If you a black man, I'm your biggest advocate, your biggest supporter. So that's what we do. But without that, excuse me. Without further ado, this your boy Quali. This is the Non-Stop Playing podcast. Again, I appreciate y'all tapping in with us today. This episode was on abandonment, and we're gonna come back with another series.